It's day 7 of the custom DIY van Hightop build. As you can see, we're framed in. I'll show you. There we go. Even roof rafters. We are totally framed in. All we have to do now is put some sheathing on it. Well, not all we have to do, but the next step is to put some sheathing on it. And then we'll have to weather seal that, and we'll start cutting holes and putting whatever we're doing, vents. We'll mount solar on it. We got to insulate, fill in there. Then we got to do a van build back there, because those 2 benches are coming out. That's the only remnants of the old build. We kept those thus far because they make great built-in sturdy scaffolding while we're working up higher. So it's Monday the 30th. We have been dealing with heat like 90s every day, and blessedly is cooling down this weekend to like the 70s. And that means we dropped like 22 or 23 degrees cooler today than yesterday. That means a cold front came in. So I'm recording this for you inside the van because the wind's blowing like crazy. We're at Home Depot. You can kind of see it over there. There we go. We're at Home Depot this morning. We're getting plywood and, well, other sheathing materials for the roof and stuff. And I got to pick up one more 2x4 for another roof rafter on the back. I ran one short yesterday, and it's going to start taking shape. So we're still adjusting, or at least I'm still adjusting to the look of this thing on the roof. It's definitely a big change from as long as I've had this van. I'm used to seeing it a certain way. And while I customize the inside of vehicles, I tend to keep the outside looking pretty stock. So this is a big change. One of my daughters-in-law said to me this morning, that thing is big. It's not what I was expecting. It's strategic. It is big, but it's strategic. And we'll get into more of that later in this video, or very soon in the next one or two, on why it's the way it is. But for now, we're going to run into Home Depot, grab us some supplies and get home. This is our first inaugural run with this thing on here, driving, and it did fine so far. We'll see how it does when we have all the sheathing on and it's a little more wind drag, but it is very windy. It's running fine, so that's good. It's much preferable so far to driving around with a trailer. All right, on to Home Depot. All right, so all done at Home Depot. The plywood's all loaded up in the back here. We grabbed another 2x4 that we're using for rafters up top, that one that I was missing. Most expensive stop yet at the hardware store, but we kind of knew it was going to be with all this stuff. And we also grabbed a couple tubes of construction adhesive because I'm going to be gluing and screwing the plywood on. And we grabbed some screws, and I grabbed a new tape measure because the tape measure I have had for a while is junk. So I kind of went all out on a good one. Hopefully serve us well for a while. Not make me want to pull my hair out every time I have to use it. So we'll be putting it to work today. So I'll show you that when we get it out and get using it. Now we're going to head home, and it's getting towards mid to late morning, so we might have to grab some food. But then we're going to dive into this. And it's kind of windy right now, which did make it a bit of a challenge loading up the 4x8 sheets of plywood. But hopefully the wind will settle down a little as the day goes on. And we got to get this thing closed in before the weather turns on us. Alright guys, let me show you this real quick while the wind's not blowing too bad. Fancy new tape measure. I actually don't care about fancy. I care about that it actually locks and it stays out like it's supposed to. And look at this. Is that amazing? I have never seen a tape measure that has numbers on both sides of the tape. And are these numbers lovely? I mean, look how big and bold they are. That is so nice on middle-aged eyes. And it gets better. Of course, it has the belt clip. But why does the tape measure have a power button, you ask? Well, there you go. We have an LED light on our tape measure. I did not buy it for the LED light. And and look at this. It comes with a USB cable. So you know you're getting high tech when your tape measure comes with a USB cable, because it's a rechargeable battery for that little light. I'm sure the light will be handy at times. That's not why I bought it. I wanted something that stood up nicely out to, I've tested it out to 8 feet. Anyway, we're past 8 feet there, and look at this. It just stands up like it's supposed to. It doesn't collapse and twist over and everything. So I think it's supposed to go up to 13 feet or 17 feet or something like that. It'll stand up. and 25 foot, which is more than what we need for this. So really cool. It was worth a few extra bucks for the performance of this thing. The light's a nice bonus. The USB rechargeable is just yet an even further nice bonus. But enough of that. I'm going to go screw in another block. There we go. Just like that, huh? So God gave carpenters mouths. Hold all the screws and nails. There we go. This is, I mentioned this in a previous video, but because we put the framing, the wall framing on the outside of this rim board, we have a gap here. So we're going to put insulation here, but we don't want, you know, wind, moisture, insects, whatever else coming in there. It seems to me like that'd be a perfect bat cave. We don't want them coming in either. So we're blocking it off to prevent that, and we'll seal it around the edges here. But it also serves structural benefit in that if these boards decide they want to, you know, pivot a little over time or start to loosen, this is going to help hold them in place because it'll block them on the top or the bottom from being able to move very far at all. So we're overbuilding, but I want this thing to last a very long time and perform very well for us for a long time, and eventually someday down the road to be in good condition that we can pass it along to someone else who can benefit from it. So we're kind of going all out, but we got to keep the bugs out. Final rafter here. This is the one we ran out of wood for yesterday. We'll see how good I measured, or if I have to do it again. So close. I got to take about 1/8 of an inch off. All right, that was a really precise 1/8 of an inch removal. So just a haircut. So we'll see if this works better. Oops. I just lost one of my screws too.
Uh-oh.
Thank you. All right, that's the framing. We're just gonna do some sealing and then we'll be putting on plywood sheathing. And some of you may be wondering, isn't it stronger if I go the other way with the wood? So it is laying vertical, sitting vertical instead of lying horizontal. That is true. We're so far beyond what we need for structure up here that it's not going to hurt anything. We're overbuilt, and this allows, it's a little more convenient, and also allows us to maximize our interior space and how much we're losing to wall space. And we just don't need a 3.5-inch wall cavity or even a 2.5-inch wall cavity. So it's just on purpose, but if you're wondering that, you are correct. If you keep them vertical, it is actually stronger, but we're way beyond what we need here. And we've been yanking on this and pulling on this. It is solid, and we took it out this morning. It didn't move a millimeter. So I'm very confident that we're plenty strong with what we've got here. So doesn't mean you should do the same thing. It's just what we're doing, and I think it's working for us. So we're gonna grab some caulk now and a caulk gun. I want to seal in because we got like these blockings, for example. We want to keep moisture and bugs and whatnot from getting up underneath. And basically anywhere we're concerned about air or moisture getting in, on the outside. This is all going to be covered with plywood, but we're just going to seal it up real quick and make sure it's as good as we can get it. We'll do more sealing on the inside after everything's in. This is just a quick and dirty first one, just for anything that'll be hard to get once we put the plywood on. Whoops. I'll have to pick that up later. There's littering on all of my son and daughter-in-law's house. This is our brand new cock gun we're trying. It's a step above the ones I've had before, which is to say it costs like $10 instead of $5. So far it seems to be working better. Right now I need a paper towel to wipe up my goofy mess. That's a little better anyway. I try not to make too much of a mess because that will be all over my hands without fail. This one's a little different. It doesn't have the lock tab on it. You just dial it so that the steps are on the bottom, and then it works. So let me grab a ladder so I can get up here a little higher, and we'll start gooping up some of these. All right, so we're ready to start putting some sheathing on the walls and then eventually the roof. Probably none too early. Well, there's still no rain or snow in the forecast. We're keeping our fingers crossed here. We just, while we were taking our little break for a moment here, getting a drink, we got an alert on my phone that there's a freeze warning for tonight. It's supposed to get down to the low as 27, so not snow yet, but it's definitely time to get this thing closed in. And amusingly enough, a few minutes later, I had a second notification that we have a fire weather watch for tomorrow during the day. So freeze watch overnight, fire weather watch during the day. We're going to get this thing closed in, and we're looking forward to getting that done, because the sooner there's one more big step towards being able to get this thing out camping and see how it's working out for us. Get 66.5 by 37.5. Okay, so what we're doing here, we just did a dry fit, made sure it's going to fit on the front where we're measuring it for, and we marked on the top and the bottom of this panel where the studs are. So we're just going to follow those lines down with a pencil using our 4-foot level here, and what that'll allow us to do is to put our screws in nice straight orders so that it doesn't have this thing going with the screws. So we're going to mark this up, and then we'll go and put it on the front. These pencil marks will be covered over by paint or whatever the heck we decide to weather seal this thing with. We're still talking about that, as well as what color to go with. And that would be a part where I'd say you should leave us a comment and let us know what color we should do. But honestly, by the time you guys are seeing this video, that's already going to be done. So that would not be nice to ask you to weigh in on something that's already done. So, We're using construction adhesive, heavy duty construction adhesive on these as well as screws, so it'll be double secured. And this is kind of how they build at least the ultralight travel trailers like we have, the RVs, where everything's glued together and it kind of makes a stronger hole. So that's what we're doing here. Yeah, but this stuff's a bit of a pain to squeeze. It's very thick, so we're trying something different for once this runs out. All right, so we are going with roofing screws on these to attach them, not only on the roof but also on the sidewalls. And roofing screws are they're designed for metal roofing and similar things. These are about 1.25 inches long, I think, 1.5 inches long. But they have a hex head, and so we have a 1/4 inch. It's a 1/4 inch head, and we have a 1/4 inch bit. So they just fit on there nicely to screw them in. But what's unique about them, aside from being weather coated, coated for weather resistance, they have a washer included, and they also have a neoprene washer on the underside. So when you sink them into the roof, these drop. There we go. These drop, and that neoprene washer flattens out a bit. But it should last many, many years unless it's removed. Then you have to kind of use new screws again. But that'll seal it up from weather coming in, but it also allows us to access it. And other screws we might use, either we're going to have the head is going to be standing out and we'll have to paint over them or seal them, or if we use like a construction screw and the head is kind of flush or countersunk, we have to fill that. So I think this will be an easier long-term solution, and it should hopefully work very well. So we'll go ahead and grab the plywood now that we got our studs are all cocked or are glued, and got our screws ready to go, and we'll start mounting that plywood on. And the rest of this should hopefully go pretty quick on this phase. So this time we decided to get smart after the mess I made out of the front cap with the screws being off. I thought I was close. I was standing so close to it, I was way off on the height of some of the screws. So this time we marked it out both directions in a nice grid, so I know right where we want to put our screws in. All right, it's quitting time, which is to say it's a little after 5 o'clock. We just had to wait for an entire line of vehicles to leave a nearby house that's under construction. We're quitting too, for the most part, for the evening. It's day 7. We're wrapping it up. Look at the progress, huh? The walls are closed in the front and all the sides. We still got to close in the back, and we still got to put the roof on. We have the materials. We'll be doing that, but we're just going to wait till tomorrow morning to finish that up. I ran out of construction screws, so I need to go get some so we can finish screwing in this one last panel. That's the only other thing I'm doing tonight. We also ran out of construction adhesive, but we're good for tonight on that. But we'll get that while we're at it. Finish closing, finish buttoning that down while the glue is still, tacky still, and can be adhered. And then we're done for tonight. So we're happy. It's starting to look like something. It definitely is weird looking in and seeing a roof on it. It's weird looking from the outside and seeing a roof on it, or the walls on it. So it'll probably look weird again tomorrow getting the actual roof on it as well. But this is day 7. I think we're doing pretty well considering we've been battling heat. It's the first time we've done anything like this, and the heat means we have to take more breaks, right? First time we've done anything like this. We don't always have the right tools. So we've had a few times we had to buy something or borrow something, and all in all, I think we're doing pretty well. We're going to call it a night for the night. We'll be back tomorrow, day 8, finishing up the back here, the wall in the back, and putting the roof on, and probably starting some interior stuff as well. Like we need platforms above where the metal roof is that we left, the sections front and back. So I think that'll all be coming tomorrow. We appreciate you guys all following along with us. Hope you're still finding it interesting. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you're not yet already. And if you're new to this video, you just caught this, you're wondering what all's going on, we have the entire video playlist for this custom van, DIY custom van high top build project. So it's all in one playlist. You can see everything if you want to catch up on what we've been up to and why on earth we're tackling a project like this. All right, we're going to run to Home Depot, grab some screws so I can get this thing finished up before the glue sets up and doesn't want to adhere. And we'll be back with you tomorrow. So again, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow. I'll get ripped off. I have no idea what we're going to do with this.